into the forests surrounding Berlin, where West German television found it very difficult to bring us pictures. But we've got the crucial bits, and we join our race commentator, Phil Liggett, with the riders 12 miles from the finish, which is back in the heart of Berlin.
And as you join us, there is just 12 miles left of the stage today, this opening road race stage of the Tour de France, and we're watching the lone figure here who has escaped the field, and it's Giovanni Bertoia of Italy. Well, this really has been a marvellous morning already. The high speed this morning, they're well in excess of 28 miles an hour, yet 7 riders managed to escape almost from the start outside the Reichstag in West Berlin. Well, in that breakaway of 7 that went clear soon after the start, we had Gerrit Zollefeld, who in fact was third on the opening stage a year ago. We had José Sanchez from Spain, Jean-Claude Colotti, a new French professional, Guy Galopin of France, but of course riding here in the colours of the ANC Holford team, Gilbert Duclos-Lassalle, another Frenchman, Giovanni Bertoia, who is now alone in the lead, and it looks to me as though the cameraman's lost his equilibrium at the moment. And Theo de Rooij, the Dutchman from Holland, who is 30 years of age and a regular campaigner amongst the early escapers in any stage on the Tour de France. But Bertoia going clear at the minute, and looking to me as though he may well find himself in the yellow jersey by the end of the stage. Just a brief recap. The race leader this morning was Jelle Nijdam from the Netherlands. We haven't seen him all day. He's perhaps had his moment. He set out to win that prologue time trial. He succeeded there. We haven't seen him at all. But the great dangers that we've mentioned on this Tour de France, on this opening stage of the narrow roads, the likelihood of crashes amongst the riders where the leaders will try desperately to keep out of trouble. Well, I can tell you now that 2 of those leaders have already fallen. Laurent Fignon, twice a winner of the Tour de France, and Urs Zimmermann of Switzerland, who finished 3rd overall last year, have both been on the floor already. The news is they're just cut, slightly grazed with cuts and bruises, and they're back in the saddle. But one rider who certainly isn't, and sadly I have to say it's a teammate of Bertoia's here, is Stefano Giuliani, a member of the Brianzoli team, which is the team of Bertoia in the lead. He's out with a broken collarbone. This is the group we believe now to be the chasers. Jerome Simon in the blue there. At the back is Schuren. It's 7 riders again, almost like it was at the beginning. It was 7 riders who shaped the race earlier this morning. And of course, this only the first part of the day. And are they coming up to Bertoia? Is that Bertoia on the top right of the road? 9 seconds the gap, and that's all it is. So what seemed to be the winning breakaway by Bertoia, because at one stage of the race today he was 3 minutes ahead of these riders who are about to catch him, is now fighting for his life at the end of this first stage of the Tour de France. The chasers are right behind him. There we have the red jersey of Jörg Müller of Switzerland. There's some great sprinters in this group too. Lech Piasecki, of course, a magnificent sprint finisher. He wears the all-green jersey. We've got Theo de Rooij still in this group, so he's one of the original breakaway riders. We don't think that Guy Galopin has survived up in this front group. But they get the bell here. They get the bell. There is one short circuit to go, and Bertoia will be wiped out. They've timed this to absolute perfection. He's having to wait. He did think, in fact, he was making the line this time. He freewheeled when he saw one small circuit to come, and now the sprinters of the Tour de France are going to come into their own. Jerome Simon is in this group, the boy in green, and he's speaking to say how far is this finishing lap, I'm sure. That is Lech Piasecki, and there are the main field now coming down. They are approximately, let's see, approximately a minute behind, so they too have reacted, and there is the first sight of the Tour de France this year. They've been in the saddle for only 2 hours, and they're now going to complete a very short circuit before the finish here in Martin-Luther-Strasse. So this full circuit of West Berlin now, and the crowd waiting in anticipation. And the main field know now that they can almost sense this breakaway. Here they are again coming out of that underpass. And there's the gap. They've knocked off 12 seconds in the last 2 kilometres. They're 4 kilometres from the finish. we could well see a tremendous end to this year's Tour de France's opening stage. And don't forget, of course, they get a 3-hour break this morning, and then at 3 o'clock this afternoon, they'll be back in the saddle for that 40 kilometres team time trial. So the Super Complex team now fighting to keep their man Jel Nijdam in yellow for at least half a day more, and possibly for all of today. They've been told to go to the front and drag this race into action, but the breakaway is getting a little bit energetic as well. Lech Piasecki is going to have to chase. I think it was Theo de Roy who shot off down the road. That's the only way that Theo de Roy can win this stage on his own. He could not match Piasecki in the sprint, and de Roy will try to go alone. That's de Roy out in front. Piasecki, who is the sprinter, being told, and this is the yellow jersey of Nijdam. The first time we've seen him all day today. Yellow Nijdam. Not a bad name for a man in the yellow jersey, Paul. And this is back with the breakaway. It looks as though de Roy is not going to break the concentration of the sprinters, because they really are sensing now the chance of £1,800 for the winner. The first 100 riders, by the way, receive prizes every day, so there really is everything to race for. The total prize list in this year's Tour de France, £600,000, and that's shared between the 207 men. It's just that some get a lot more than others. So there is Jerome Simon, number 38 in the blue, in this breakaway. An attack goes right down the outside there. That was Theo de Roy trying again. We're looking there at the bonus situation at the moment. During the day, and Colossi took 12 seconds, which will help him lift up the overall classification. But right now, this really is a race for the stage. And these riders came together in the last 10 kilometres of the race when they caught Betoya, who'd been out in front for the final 30 kilometres, from an original breakaway, which has all been caught, and originally that had led almost from the start today. That simply is the way this stage has gone so far. We are 2 kilometres now from the finish, and de Roy is trying to break the sprinters up here. De Roy has gone in the last mile. He is a specialist at the lone breakaway. He looks over his shoulder. He is not happy with what he sees. He's right to be Jerome Simon goes now. Little Jerome Simon, one of the smallest riders in the race, winded up Lech Piasecki of Poland rapidly onto his back wheel, because Piasecki was an amateur world champion and he won it in the sprint. He's a marvellous sprint finisher. He almost won the prologue time trial yesterday. He was second. So a win today will be very nice for him, thank you, but he's going to have to work for it, because the sprinters are being treated like you should treat sprinters, very, very hard in the last mile. Soften them up. This is an attack by Rudy Patry now of Belgium, who's trying to soften up this breakaway, perhaps for his teammate Verschuren, who is still in this breakaway with him. And he's trying, in fact, to draw the sting, no doubt, of Lech Piasecki as we go under the red flame, the Flamme Rouge. The 1 kilometre to go this time for the Tour de France at the end of this opening road race stage. There's Jörg Müller, the champion of Switzerland, who's being left to chase. Oh, and look at this gap. This is a wonderful attack by Rudy Patry. So Patry going to be joined by the champion of Switzerland inside 1 kilometre to go. Jörg Müller could well win this. What a way, what a champion start this would be to the Tour de France for the Swiss, who felt they really had nobody in this Tour de France this year. Jörg Müller comes onto the back of Rudy Patry of Belgium. The Scala team versus the PDM team. 2 Dutch teams represented here by a Belgian rider and a Swiss rider. You can't get more complicated than that. There is the breakaway behind. The bunch is probably just out of our picture at the end of that line of trees. The Tour de France coming together so rapidly. And there's the sprinter, Piasecki in green. And this is how to work a man over who everybody knew would have won this stage if it had come down to a sprint from this group, but they've left it too late now. And the whole group here is fighting out the finish, and it looks like the Italian rider Betoya on the front now, trying to win this stage. The man has been away almost all the day, and on the inside is Nico Verhoeven from Holland. And as we get to the line, Verhoeven will take it by about half a wheel. Betoya gets a magnificent second place there, but no doubt about the winner in what has been a rather confusing end to this stage of the Tour de France. Nico Verhoeven is the winner this morning.
So confirmation of the first road race result then. Verhoeven, the Dutchman, won it. Giovanni Betoya from Italy was in second place, and the Belgian Patrick Verschuren in third, which means we have a new leader in the yellow jersey, Lech Piasecki from Poland. Verschuren is in second place, and Yel Nidam, who had the yellow jersey at the start of the day, is in third. Stephen Roach is lying a handy ninth, 27 seconds off.